chocolate pie is rich, smooth, and infinitely edible. Tofu, on the other hand, is, to quote a certain infallible internet source, a food prepared by coagulating soy milk and then pressing the resulting curds into a solid white block of varying softness. One of these things sounds pretty good, and the other is tofu. But we're going to put them both together anyway and see what happens. All right, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, we are going to get started with something that's really easy, and let's face it, probably really gross. I might be overstating my dislike of tofu a little bit here. Officially, it is called Mooless Chocolate Pie. Unofficially, it's just tofu pie. So, let's get started. We've got a range of ingredients here and a little bit of hardware over here. Nothing too fancy, so we should be good to go. Let's see how it works. So the first thing we'll start with is we're melting the chocolate in a double boiler. So we need the chocolate, we will need the honey, vanilla extract, and our liquid substance. So it says we need to put the water in a saucepan up to 1 inch at the sides. Does it matter if it's just 1 inch of water? I'm forced to assume that it does. Nope. There we go. Okay, got our inch of water. We just need to simmer. This should be really interesting to watch. Watching water boil? Right up there with watching paint dry. Although, one is forced to consider, if a watched pot never boils, does a watched wall ever dry? Yeah, okay, let's find something else to do. Unfortunately, there's really not much else to do. I'm going to call that simmering. Let's see. Okay. Needs a bowl on top. Now, the funny thing about recipes, we're going to be melting. It says 13 ounces of semi-sweet chocolate chips. The funny thing is that this comes in 12-ounce packages. I am forced to conclude that Good Eats was somehow in cahoots with the Chocolate Morsel Company. And this is a devious way to force you to buy more semi-sweet goodness than you actually thought you needed. So we have this. Fun, isn't it? Chocolate. Gently. Son of a diddly. Brilliant. That's great. A little more chocolate. Well, nothing went down the hot side. That's for later to clean up. Anyway, we also need some vanilla. That much. That much. My chosen instrument for stirring melty chocolatey goodness? A rice spatula. It's an old habit that I picked up from an old roommate who was an honest-to-goodness baker, and he used a rice spatula for just about everything. True, it's because we were young and didn't have any money or any kitchen goods, but it's a habit that kind of stuck. We're kind of boiling. Let's put that down. To be honest, I'm not too sure what would happen at this point if the water really was boiling. Or at a rolling boil, or whatever the other options are. But the recipe says simmer, so we're trying to maintain that simmer. I don't think we're simmering enough anymore. Yeah, I don't think so. And the next step is then tofu. Drained. Yeah, that was probably not smart. All right, let's see how that goes. We won't miss it if I lose a little hair in the draining. Really? I can only assume that this is the most dramatic opening of a tofu container ever recorded on YouTube. Should be yummy. Okay, let's move you there. Move you here. All right, the chocolate mix is looking nice and melty. I've yet to burn it. Smells pretty good though. All right, so that means yay for tofu. I don't think you count as fully drained, but yum. How can you say no to that? I don't know how smooth this is supposed to get before I add it. But let's see what else we got. We need honey and spoon. You know what? Let's be strict. Because it's never going to come out of this spoon. That was dumb. And you. Enough, enough, enough. And you. Okay. I think we can just add this. Try it this way. All right. After that, and last step. Now, full disclosure, sort of, doing every recipe in the Good Eats books. However, in this recipe, he does include a sub recipe for a chocolate wafer crust. However, he didn't do it in the show. When you really look at the prices, a single box of the chocolate wafers to make the crust is about twice as much as just buying the stupid crust. So I just had to go with the chocolate pie crust, store-bought. We might come back to the chocolate wafer crust recipe at a later date. I might have underblended a little. A little lumpy, but I don't know if that's the chocolate's fault or the tofu's fault. But if you have someone to blame, I'd say blame the tofu. Final step, have to cook it in the fridge for 2 hours. So, yeah. 2 hours. Okay, should do it. Go. Well, we have a chocolate pie. We'll cut a piece and see how it goes. All right, here we go. It is definitely a pie, and it definitely is tofu. So, here, we'll find out. Wow. That is really rich, really chocolatey. And no, you would have no idea that that's actually because of tofu. It's good. I mean, yeah, it's a good chocolate pie. If you serve this up to someone, they'll probably never guess that that's what it was. Okay, the second bite didn't seem as rich as the first bite, but it is really chocolatey. So if it were up to me, I think I would add a little something to take away some of that just general chocolate bitterness, and see if that looks a little bit more like something you might get somewhere. Actually, that's pretty good. So, what we ended up with is a pie that is pretty rich and pretty smooth and pretty bitter, but all in all, pretty good. Still, if you're gonna make this one for yourself, I would definitely recommend having some whipped cream or something on hand to kind of smooth out that bitterness. So, on the whole, we're gonna give this one a passing grade. I mean, it was pretty easy to make, and all the ingredients were pretty easy to get a hold of and to use. And in truth, I've never had a real problem with tofu, as long as it's in some very specific dishes. And up until now, I'd have to say that those specific dishes did not include chocolate pie, but all in all it worked. And the chocolate flavor in this one is so overwhelming that really you're never going to notice that coagulated soy milk flavor that makes tofu so popular. So, for a final rating of the tofu pie, if we assume that higher up the poster is better and further to the right is how easy and how well the recipe was completed, we're gonna give this one, somewhere in this vicinity. And what that means is that while it was fine and good, if I were to make chocolate pie again, I'd probably just make it without the tofu and just do a regular one. So that should about do it for this recipe. One down and about a half a bajillion to go. Thanks for watching, and be sure to come back next week as I continue to work my way through every Good Eats recipe ever.